him is number 4, Jimmy Georges, with the mounts of Cabello Matsanyane. Number 5, Malinois, Joshua Solomons. Number 7, sporting a black cap, is Otis the Brave, with the return of Devon Ashby. Number 6, Logistical, Keaton DeMello. Number 9, Green Falcon, with the mount of Richard Faree. And those are the runners and riders for the first race here at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. What is a very windy day. Tailwind here, northwesterly wind down the straight. So punters, just be aware of that. Number 1, Aphrodite, did go down a little bit earlier on. And of course, number 8, Golden Piece, is a scratching. So field of 8 here to open up proceedings at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. To cross on downstairs to Grant Knowles as well as MJ Baileyfelt. And I believe Vicky Minnow is here today. So a warm welcome to the team for Vicky as well.
Runners making their way down to the start for our first race. It's the Hollywoodbets Kenilworth welcomes you. It's a maiden plate, 1,200 metres, and interesting race as well because we showed you the flags. There is a very strong tailwind, and it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how racing transpires here today. Wonderful to have Vicky Minot back on duty here out at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, and she's managed to get hold of Lucinda Woodruff in the parade ring. Let's find out what Lucinda has to say about her runners.
Vicky, it's nice, so nice to have you.
With regards to the first race, you've got a strong hand with Bullitt. You've got the blinkers back on.
We gelded him right.
All right, apologies for that. We appear to be losing the mic on Lucinda when she's chatting. We're going to just see whether we can get that switched over, and we'll be hoping to get some feedback from Lucinda as well. So let's give that a whirl. And let's see if we can try that once again with Vicky and the microphone.
Lucinda, you've got Bullitt in the first. You've got the blinkers on.
Yes, he's been ducking and diving a bit and not finishing off his races. So we decided to put them on now. He didn't quite rectify it last time after the gelding. So Sean's been working on him at home with the blinkers on. And I must say he's responded really nicely. I do think the tailwind's going to help him today because he's quite a keen horse. So yeah, we'll be holding thumbs. He puts it together today.
Lucinda, you've also got Malinois. How will he go?
He's going to need a lot further in time. So he'll just be... I think he could be running on well. He took his first run very well, and he comes in here fresh. So he could be one to watch over a bit further, though, in time.
Dean Street, race 7. He's drawn on the inside.
Yeah, Dean Street's been... he's been a real hard, tough horse to train. We've changed a couple of things on, and we've got Richie back on him. So obviously I think the 1,000 is a bit short for him. But yeah, we're kind of starting again here. If he puts it together, I think he's a massive runner. He's got all the ability in the world. But yeah, don't leave him out, but just be cautious of him.
Thank you very much, Lucinda.
Thanks, Fix.
That's Lucinda Woodruff giving us the info on her runners. Grant, over to you.
Very much, Vicky. Yeah, great to hear the feedback from Lucinda as well. And she's got a couple of nice runners today, and I certainly wouldn't be leaving Dean Street out of any of the play. Let's get back to this race and who we're going to be siding with. Now, MJ, you chatted to Richard, who was fairly bullish that this horse, after gelding, he's going to be having his peak run here today, and I think he expects this horse to go pretty close to winning.
Yeah, definitely, Grant. Richard's very upbeat about him. Obviously, the form points to him. He's drawn on the outside. It's probably not ideal, but today, it's funny, summer, and we've got a tailwind playing, so it's a bit strange. But yeah, Richard sounded very confident, and I'm sure he'll probably be the horse to beat.
Yeah, I think he is. In terms of some of the collateral form lines, there's a couple of runners in this race that ran behind Quandra, and there's not really a lot separating them. So you can expect quite a lot of improvement from the likes of Bullitt. And I think, as Lucinda said, she's quite optimistic that this tailwind is going to suit him because he's quite keen in his races as well. So he's going to have a tailwind pushing him. He's going to have the blinkers making him more focused. He could be a massive runner here as well. Let's ask Vicky about number 1, Aphrodite. This is the filly. She's the Quarari who gets the 2.5 kilogram sex allowance. Hasn't done too much wrong and obviously bumping the boys. But for me, interesting that her last run was over the 14 and they've dropped back to the 12.
Grant, looking at Aphrodite, her last run around the turn, she jumped out and she's got a huge action, covers a lot of ground, but she got quite keen. And when the jock brings her back, she tends to resist a little bit. So I think maybe just bringing her back to the 1200, just showing her the ropes, and I think a perfect race for her, because I think Bullitt with the blinkers on down that inside rail will go a good clip, and she can get a nice soft lead there. And I think that she's one of the top contenders here.
So she definitely comes out in terms of a big runner here, but so too will number 6, Logistical, MJ. This is a 3-year-old son of Trippy. His debut was quite a decent effort, and he didn't really run on very strongly, but he stayed on at some decent pace. Now, I chatted to Dean a little bit earlier on, and he was of the opinion that the tailwind isn't going to be to this horse's advantage.
Yeah, it seemed like it was going down with a big action. He might be looking a bit further, and as Mr. Caname said, with the tailwind, it's probably not ideal. But he didn't run far off his first start. He was a little bit fancied. Looks like a nice horse, and maybe want to have a look at where he runs here for the future.
All right, let's talk about our favourite, and that is number 9, Green Falcon. Now, you chatted to Richard. He was optimistic. Having a look at the form, obviously he represents that quandary form, but the run that really catches my eye, well, there are 2. The run behind Ensuing, because he runs later on today, and I think he's a big runner in the last, and the run behind Lamorne, who came out and ran 3rd in the Punters' Cup. So those horses are actually well above maiden ranks, and if he reproduces those type of runs, he should be a massive runner and the one to beat.
Yeah, definitely, Grant. I mean, he's only 2.5 lengths and 4.5 lengths of those type of horses, and put one of them back in this race, they'll be 4-10. So on form, unless there's a first-timer that could run a bit, on form, he should almost be a certainty. But the wind is blowing, and we never know what's going to happen. But yeah, as I said, on form, he's a massive runner.
Number 4, Gimme Gorgeous, the 3-year-old son of Gimme the Green Light out of a Fort Wood mare. Has had the 2 starts. First one was over at the 1200, then dropped back to the 1000. Now goes the 1200. Cabello Matsanyana jumps on board for the Snaith runners now. He wouldn't be at all surprised to finish in the top 4 with his form.
No, definitely. He ran he ran in a work riders race last time, so the form might have been a little bit not always as strong. But his first start in the Val wasn't bad. There's been a winner out of that form line, so always definitely for the quartet.
On his pedigree alone, Vicky, is by Gimme the Green Light is out of a Fort Wood mare. You've got to think that the 1200 would be much more to his liking, and probably when he goes 14, you'll see the best of him.
More than likely, and he's, he didn't start off in Justin's yard, so he's probably also just finding his feet with him. Last time I just showed him the course for the first time. Grant, just quickly, number 7, Otis the Brave. Paul Rees said he wouldn't, he's a nice type of horse, maybe looking for a little bit further, but wouldn't be surprised if he finished the back end of the placings.
All right, so that's a bit of word out on the first timer, but they are loading up. Devon Pretorius is going to be calling races 1, 2 and 3, so let's hand up to Devon for the running of our first.
Thank you, Grant. Runners are loading for the first race of the afternoon. Winning captain, Gimme Gorgeous, Logistical, Otis the Brave and Green Falcon are already standing waiting. Next to move up is Bullitt. Of course, take note that number 8, Golden Peace, is a scratching in this race, so it's a field of 8 to open up proceedings as number 1, Aphrodite, moves forward. And Malinois completes the lineup. First race of the afternoon. Winning captain to settle. Flag goes up. Gates are back. Off and racing from the 1,200 meter mark. Logistical was maybe just 1 length slow into stride. Out in front, Bullitt was the first one to respond. Aphrodite also shows a good amount of early speed. Deep routes on the track, Green Falcon's now pushing forward with Malinois. Gimme Gorgeous is going to settle just off the early pace. Then comes Otis the Brave, the pink sleeves and black cap. Logistical's 1 from last as they go past the final 800 meters, and it's a good clip out in front with Bullitt setting the pace. Aphrodite's on the inside. Then on the early heels is Malinois. Then comes Green Falcon, who's now starting to push a little bit closer. Just in behind that is Gimme Gorgeous. Then comes Winning Captain. Logistical finds himself towards the back end of the field, and Otis the Brave is last of all as they go past the final 400 meters. Out in front is Bullitt, going to try and make every post a winning one. Green Falcon's already under the drive. Then comes Malinois. Gimme Gorgeous, Aphrodite's got 3 lengths to make up, but Bullitt's in a galloping mood at the moment, still has 2 lengths to spare. As they enter the final furlong, it's Bullitt, who has 3 lengths to go, and out in front it's still Bullitt, and now starts to gear away, and Bullitt's under Seanville going to open up proceedings here. Green Falcon's running on really late, but it could be too late, as Bullitt's going to win. Green Falcon in second, then came Gimme Gorgeous. Logistical from the back end of the field ran on into 4th. Well, no, there'll be a very happy Kirsty Lau downstairs as number 3, Bullitt, wins for the Lucinda Woodruff stable here. Sean Veal, the winning jockey, and seemed like the blinkers did the trick. And also the strong head when Green Falcon was starting to close him down in the closing stages, but was no match for number 3, Bullitt, who finally gets out of the maidens at the 6th time of asking. Number 3, Bullitt, your winner, followed by number 9, Green Falcon into second. There was a good 2 lengths back to number 4, Demi Gorgeous in third. Then came number 6, Logistitor in fourth, followed by Malinois, Aphrodite, who showed some good early pace. Then came Winning Captain and Otis the Brave. Number 3, Bullitt, your winner, closest to the inside rail. The orange and yellow salts now gets ridden out by Sean Veal, the 3-year-old Karari gelding out of Colour Magic. Congratulations to the winning owners, the Laos, all of the Laos actually. It's a family connection here for the Lucinda Windruff stable. And a big mention to Kirsty Lau, as well as number 3, Bullitt, is the winner for the first race of the afternoon.